Well, thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Making Sense, where we talk about our finances, our financial institutions, the current trends, as well as what may be on the horizon. We are blessed today to be joined by Silver Broadagum from Forest Area Federal Credit Union. Silver, first of all, love your name. But we are here to talk today about something that probably a lot of the folks out there uh, maybe thinking about doing, hoping they can do, and you're going to help empower us. And so we're very grateful for you to be here today. We're talking about starting to save or maximizing that effort if you're already on the path. And saving is one of those things that we probably all know we should be doing, but it can be hard to get started when you just think there isn't the money there. So Silver, thanks so much for giving us some pointers and walking through. And if anybody has questions, just shoot it in the comment and we'll forward your question on to Silver and maybe she can get some answers. Saving can be hard. Let's start with that, right, Silver? It can be a hard thing to do.
Absolutely, for sure.
So if someone has a need or a desire to actually start saving up, maybe for a purchase or to establish a rainy day fund, which in previous topics we have talked about how important it is to have some money set aside should something come up. How do you even begin to start on that process of saving?
Sure. So I think it starts with a clear mindset that you're determined and committed to doing this, and then giving yourself realistic goal and timeframes. Because let's face it, if you make it too far to reach, you're gonna get frustrated from the beginning. So the setting a clear time frame and a clear goal would be step number one.
So is it is it kind of like a diet?
It's exactly like a diet. It's everything you do. It takes determination and willpower.
And time.
Yeah.
And it may not be, it may mean some sacrifices too. Okay, so once we have said, okay, I need to do this, what are some of the best practices to achieving some of those goals? If we have realistic goals and we've set forth this need and this desire and we're committed to it, what are some of the best practices to move forward with that?
Well, I find it's easier to find those goals if you look. So start by taking a look at your financial situation, how much you spend, and then cutting out the non-essential spending and expenses such as dining out, subscriptions, entertainment. And I find that if you are committed to doing that, these things are easier to look for and easier to find. So by entertainment, seeking out your local community bulletin boards and finding the things that might be offered for that weekend that you can participate for free, staying in for movie night, and just enjoying your family, which usually is a whole lot cheaper than going out and buying the popcorn and the drinks that go with it. And then again, cutting out any subscriptions and memberships, which could add up. I know myself, if you stop and think about how many you really truly have, it's $30, $40, $50 a month that you could be saving that you don't need to be spending.
Silver, it sounds like, and I know Justin is watching somewhere, and he would be proud of me if I brought this up. You have to budget. You have to know what you're spending. You have to, that again, probably a first step in saving. If you don't think you have enough money, you really need to know that you don't have enough money, right? And so it starts with budgeting, knowing where your money is going, and then picking off the low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. That goes along with tracking your spending, and then doing the things that you can. Most people don't know that they have the extra money. Saving $10 a week isn't that hard when you cut out that cup of coffee that you stop and grab on your way to work. Maybe multiple times a week you stop and grab that cup of coffee.
Yeah, we're not encouraging people to skip their morning cup of coffee. Do it at home for cheaper, right? I mean, we're going to lose a whole lot of viewers that are like, no, this is crazy talk. Right. So make your coffee at home. Maybe pack your lunch at home. Yes. Instead, we're not asking people to go without. So what are some options for someone that's looking to reduce their monthly bills, not just that splurge or that treat that maybe we didn't think was a splurge or a treat, but once we looked at our budget, we realized that is a splurge or a treat. When it comes to our actual monthly bills, what are some things we can look at there?
Looking at all of your credit cards, paying off the high interest debts first.
Okay.
That will free up money for saving. Shopping around for insurance rates, shopping around for streaming services. Maybe consider changing out your subscriptions to Dish Network, DirecTV, those types of things that are subscription based. And then and maybe if you're paying for cable, maybe switching to streaming is the way to go. Just simple things like that. And then considering a debt consolidation to wrap up all those high interest debts into one, and then sticking to the fact that you're not going to go out and get into more debt after you've consolidated the debt.
Right. So fix that behavior that may have gotten you into that spot in the first place. Maybe stop the bleeding. Correct. I guess is probably a good first step to take. And again, we want to remind people that everybody's financial situation, of course, is different, but like saving could be as much as saving $100. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about getting to $1 million, but little baby steps, and it adds up over time, right? Time is the big factor in all of this, right? You have to do this behavior sometimes for a while in order to maybe really see the big numbers that maybe we're hoping for, right?
Absolutely. And if you stick with it, you get more comfortable with it, more confident in it. So you start to see those returns in your behaviors and your habits. And then it becomes easier to save more and more and more.
Well, it's like with a diet. When you see the scale numbers actually start to go in the direction you want, it's a great motivator. So when you see the numbers in your bank account start to go probably the opposite direction of what we see on the scale, when you see those numbers go up, that reinforces it. But starting is the hard thing with both diets and cash diets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So what if someone were to receive extra funds unexpectedly for whatever reason? Suddenly you have what you would consider a windfall. What do they do with those? What do they do with that money?
I would say out of sight, out of mind. That's a mantra that I would say to myself, and I would say to anybody else. So stick that into your savings. You didn't have it before, you'll never miss it now. Also, though, you could look into investing or money market accounts, certificates, something that might yield you a high interest rate on that savings.
So turn that perhaps one-time windfall into a potentially life-changing, or don't, if it's one time in, don't have it be one time out.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's the way of thinking. Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense. All right. So are there some specific ways that a person can perhaps challenge themselves or their family to meet their goals?
Absolutely. It's all about making it fun. So set up challenges for yourself. Make it involved. Include family, friends, coworkers. I know years ago we had a challenge where they would set aside, and it was a competition here at work. You save $1 the first week, you save $2 the next week, $3 in week 3, and so on until you get to week 52. And that ended up getting people $1,378 that they had saved by the end of the year, and they didn't miss it.
Okay, wait. That's shocking to me, and I think that's the point of it. Mm-hmm. Walk me through those numbers again. Just tell me the exact same thing you just told me. So you walk me through that, because that's a big number.
Yep, week 1 to week 52. Okay. And the amount that you save correlates to that week. So in week 1 would be $1.
So you save $1 from your expenses. Yep. Put that in your Never You Mind account. Yeah. Correct. Okay.
And then just keep following that every week. And then, of course, at week 52, you would get to $52, and maybe that's a little more of a ouch to your wallet. But by that time, you've already done it for 52 weeks, and now you have over $1,300 in your account.
$1,300. This seems like that's awesome, because you don't miss the one, probably. You don't miss the two. But by the time you're up 12 months into this, maybe you're getting pretty good at that. That sounds like a great New Year's resolution kind of thing. A great, January 1 challenge, set yourself. And wouldn't it be great going into next holiday season to have $1,300, right?
That's the goal.
Wow. I love that. That's a lot of fun. And it can be fun. We have to make it fun, because again, like a diet, this isn't hey, by what is today? Wednesday. By Saturday, I've dropped 25 pounds. It's going to take time. So if it's not fun, if it's all sacrifice, that's a lot harder to do. So make it a little bit fun. Okay, so everybody would probably love to save, or have enough money that they can do what they want to do and still save some money. So this is probably a pretty common goal to get started with saving. What are some pitfalls that a lot of people tend to fall into?
Signing up for store credit cards that they don't need, just to get that promotional offer, because that ends up putting you into more debt and defeating your purpose from the get-go. And then the biggest things is setting unrealistic expectations and not tracking your spending by that budget, having that budget. If you do that, you're going to get frustrated right off the get-go and just give up, like with everything else that you do. Ignoring that the fact that you will need emergency funds at some point. You have medical bills. You may have a car repair. You have to take care of somebody else. So take that into mind, as well as just saving for the sake of saving, that you'll need to have those emergency funds available. And then living beyond your means. A lot of us live beyond our means. Who doesn't? Almost everybody has debt. It's unavoidable. But really keeping track of, your means and how you want to manage that.
All good advice. And boy, that budget thing, it keeps coming up again, Silver. You must be from the Justin School of Budgeting. Because, we have to, much like a diet, nobody wants to step on that scale. But if you don't know where you're starting from and you don't know where your money's going, it makes it very hard to really make a plan and a change, right?
100%.
So do that budget. Is it the kind of thing like a diet where if you bring other people in, doing it alone is hard, but if other people know you're doing this, we all have friends that you don't want to go out to dinner with because you're like, they order the expensive stuff and we're all going to split the bill, right? So can saving be one of those things where if you let your partner, your family, your friends at work know, can that be helpful?
100%. That's actually one of the common strategies to staying motivated. If you have an accountability buddy, just like with weight, you're more likely to stick to your plan. And then, and keep pushing forward. And again, making it fun, having a competition, going out there and bragging about your milestones to somebody so that they can uplift you as well.
So teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Yes, for sure.
What's your advice to somebody that's sitting there watching this now? We're going to do a couple different. I'm going to let you give advice to a bunch of different people right now. So let's start with the person that's like, I can't possibly save because all the money that's coming in is going out. And there are people that are really living paycheck to paycheck. Right. If you are doing that, is this a wasted conversation? Or can folks that really every dime is allocated to something, can they still incorporate some of these strategies?
They can. And I think it has to be an internal conversation to really look at what you're spending. Yes, your money may be going out, but is it going out in productive ways? So taking a look at yourself and making that a realistic object. You don't have to be a millionaire and you don't have to get to $1,000. Even if you only want to save $300, what can you afford? $5 a week? And most people can, because that's a breakfast sandwich, or a coffee on the way home, or stopping to get, that thing at that gas station. So being realistic, but also being flexible and giving yourself grace to know that you're going to make mistakes and just keep at it.
Silver, people that do what you do for a living probably have looked at a lot of budgets and can kind of see. I think a lot of us are under the impression that the thing that breaks our budget is our mortgage, is our car payment. But more times than not, do you kind of see some red flags in budgets that are those breakfast sandwiches? It's is it the $0 to $10 stuff that we do often that kills a lot of budgets?
Absolutely. It's the things that you don't even know that are going out of your account. The online games, unfortunately, the online gambling, the just anything like that, the coffees, the breakfast, like you mentioned. It's like I said, really taking a look at yourself. It's not the bills that you signed up for. It's the ones that you don't think about, the expenses that you aren't thinking about because you're on autopilot that kill your budget.
Silver, one of the things that I did when I was trying to save a little bit more is I did diet days, cash diet days, where it's like, okay, can I get through today without spending any money? Obviously you have mortgage and you have heat and stuff like that, but today, nothing, I don't put my card down or put my cash out for anything. Can I do it for today? It's kind of interesting if you just say that's not an option today. It is kind of interesting to see how much you would be like, oh, I'll get a pop, or I'll do this. Yeah, it's kind of eye opening. It's kind of a fun thing to do, and it is. At the end of the day, you're like, I didn't really do without anything today.
Right.
It's kind of a fun strategy. Are there other strategies that we should keep in mind?
Visualizing. I find that if you have it written down,
Oh.
a journal, a spreadsheet, a poster board, put your goal, what you want. If you're saving for vacation, maybe post that up somewhere. And if you have it visualized, it's easier to stay on track. And then treating yourself. So if you do have a no spend day, or you make it to your goal, say you set yourself, I'm going to have $100 this month that I'm going to save, and you make that. Go out and maybe treat yourself to something little then, so that you don't feel so deprived and that it's not such a sacrifice. If focusing on the why, and then again, give yourself grace, stay flexible, and realize that 1 month something might come up and you need to have that money. So if you take a little bit of money out of the savings, it's okay.
Well, and yes, and I think that's one of those topics where you're taking money out of savings. But think about if you have that savings, whereas in the past, there probably would have been a lot of anxiety if you don't have that money, or you're putting that money on credit cards or things that at least you have that money. As heartbreaking as it may be to touch it, at least you have it, and it's so much better than the alternative. But looking at where your money is going, key to addressing some of these saving issues, and that factor of time, giving yourself, when you give yourself time, I guess you probably give yourself grace as well, right? To have realistic expectations so that you can stick with this.
Correct. Because you don't want to set yourself up to fail. And a lot of bad decisions come from anxiety. So if you don't have the money, you get anxious, you make bad decisions. It's a pattern that keeps repeating itself. So stretching it out and giving yourself enough time to achieve these goals doesn't put as much pressure on you.
How hard is it? This is totally off topic. I hate to ambush you with this. Okay. So this is just a warning, but how hard is it if you're in a relationship and your spending partner, if you will, has a different mindset? That I imagine can be very, very hard. Is the best thing to do, and this is some relationship advice, not only financial advice, right? But this has to be. It's great if you have a team approach to this, but I imagine in situations it's also almost necessary that you do this as a team, right?
Correct. And if you find you can't do it as a team, then I find it's best to kind of keep it separated. If you're going to save, maybe don't put it in a joint account. Have your own account so that you can have a little bit of control over what happens with that savings. And then you don't have to stress about what your partner is doing.
Right. If folks have questions or are overwhelmed by this, who should they reach out to come talk to?
We have many licensed, certified financial counselors here at the credit union. So they can call your local institutions, your local credit union, or any kind of financial wealth. I'm sure some senior centers have some advocates that could help folks manage their money, but we would be more than willing to talk to anybody here at this credit union and give financial advice. We've all been through that certification.
I'm sure somebody, one of the viewers is out there watching this right now going, they don't want to help me save $100. And I bet that's not true. You are willing to help and give advice to anyone, whatever their goals are, right?
Correct. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually work in a capacity of helping members get out of their sticky situations. I'm in loss prevention. So I help people find solutions to their money problems almost every day. So I am 100% willing, open, available to call and talk to you about anything. And nothing is, I find a factor for people getting over is embarrassment. Embarrassment is a huge thing. And if you can get over that, then you reach out and you can start seeing yourself digging out of the hole.
When the first advice when you're in a hole is stop digging, right? So, right. And I'm sure that Silver, over the years, you've heard it all.
Yes.
Probably nobody's going to come in with a reason why they're needing financial help that you haven't already heard. So is the take-home message, we can do this?
Absolutely. We can do this, and reach out to whoever you need. Don't be embarrassed and get that support.
So get that budget, give yourself set reasonable goals,
Mm-hmm.
give yourself time, give yourself a little grace. And if you need help, go talk to somebody who does this professionally and they can help guide you along in the process.
Absolutely, Mark.
All right. Well, Silver, I want to thank you so much for your time. That is great advice. And it's at this time of year where we seem to be spending a lot because it's this time of year. It is nice to know that that there is hope for saving. And I love the dollar a week challenge. I absolutely love that. I think that a lot of the folks watching tonight may take that in. It's a great New Year's resolution. At the end of the year, you got $1,300.
Absolutely, you should try it.
I love that. You got $1,300 and maybe a new outlook on your spending, which is probably over the course of the rest of your life may have more than a $1,300 impact. So, Silver, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight and your advice, and everybody for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it, and we'll see you again from Making Sense in the future.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.